So how's it going, my comic chat army? We're here today with Mark Spears, the creator of Mark Spears Monsters. How you doing, Mark?
Hey, doing good, man.
I appreciate you coming on and doing this Halloween special for me. Or
I
with me.
appreciate you asking. This is a great time of year.
Yeah, man, you're the $1 million man right now. You got Spawn covers,
Yep.
DC covers, Power Rangers. What else am I missing?
Gosh, that's probably about it. The main stuff. I did one issue of something for Dark Horse last Halloween, but basically Power Rangers, DC. I'm doing a ton of stuff for. I got 16 covers now at DC. Spawn stuff. When will this air? Is this right before Halloween?
The 30th.
Okay, well then everybody's going to know at New York Comic Con they're releasing the information where it's big news. Spawn 77, something I plotted. I'm going to do the interiors, the covers. Todd McFarlane's writing it. It's going to be a 6-issue series coming out first of next year. I think the tentative release is April was the first issue. So yeah, dude, I got my hands full. I got my hands in all kinds of deep pockets there. So
a lot of good pockets too, you know.
Oh yeah,
because I was just at the comic book store today getting my books before the hurricane hits, and heard a couple people talking about your covers. You are on fire.
Yeah, it's weird because you do these covers so far in advance, right? So like this, the one that just come out, I guess it was last Wednesday, King Spawn, like 38 maybe around there. Mm-hmm. That one I did for Spawn 350, but they decided it was going to be a four cover spread, different people on the throne. So you didn't know when you bought the issue, is it going to be Spawn? Is it going to be Clown? It's going to be different characters. So I did that. It took me about a month because we were designing the throne. No one knew before in the books. It was just like a bunch of bricks or something. No one really had an idea. So it took me that long to get that done. And by that time, they went, we're going to go a different route on that. And so they said, we'll keep this cover to use later on, and then give me different covers to work on. So that one, gosh, I want to say that was maybe back last August or so. So you just about a year, and then or over a year, and it comes out. There's a Superman that hits tomorrow. Is today Tuesday or Monday? I don't even know what day it is.
Today's Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay, tomorrow. Which is, I guess we're talking about the past if this goes in late October. But the first cover of the month of the Action Comics going weekly, the All In, there's a 1 in 25 variant, and that Superman's actually the first DC cover I ever did, and I did it last August. But it's just the way it shuffled around, it's coming out now. So yeah, on a lot of that stuff, it's just like, you do it and you're thinking it's pretty decent, but no one sees it for like a year, and you just don't know whether they like it or not. But dude, there was times, right now, I'll admit, my name because of MONSTRRS and all these other covers, but I couldn't find work. I mean, I was just months back. The reason MONSTRRS exist is because I had so much time in my hands last year of no work. After in 23 March is when I broke into the comic book business with Todd McFarlane's. I did 4 issues in the Spotlight. So I did the Spawn, Gunslinger, Scorched, and King Spawn. Those all came out in March. I think one of those delayed came out in the first week of April. And then I kept going like, where's my next work? Who's going to hire me to do something? I thought that's the way it would go. No, I think DC didn't hire me until last August. And then I did get some Boom Power Rangers work in around May to June. I had like one cover. And then last November, I got some more. But yeah, it was touch and go there. That I was like, man, I can't find work. And now I'm up to a point where I'm having to turn down things, which is, that's what you want as a freelancer. You're always worried you can't enjoy when you do something because you're worried, well, where's the next, paycheck coming from? What's the next thing I got to do? So I can finally go, I can breathe and say, okay, I got monsters out there. I'm going to be working on the Spawn miniseries. So, my book is, or my schedule is kind of set to where I don't have to worry as much. So that's just truly exactly where you want to be in comics. So, yeah, very happy.
Wow, that's a hell of a origin, or I guess beginning ish.
Yeah, it was. I kept thinking, I did a lot of when I did the Kickstarter for Monsters last December. I was going to put a little write up about myself, and I was like, wow, I've done 31 covers I think that was when in December of last year, but none of them had come out. Right. And I was like, man, I have to be setting records here of doing this amount of work in that length of time because I just started in March. So it's like you don't get that much opportunity like that. But what would happen is like a lot of the Spawn covers would sit there. So when the Spawn came out in that March of 23, the very next Spawn cover that was released was in I want to say June or July of this year. So they had said I did them last summer, but they had sat on them till now. So, but it almost is like a perfect storm of when those get released, then the DC stuff start happening, and the Lobo cover 1066 was huge for me when that came out, and all that was about the same time. And then I'd already, New Monsters was going to come out around Halloween, around September. And it's just a perfect component of if you add everything up of where it all hit when it did. So, yeah, very, very fortunate that it all played out the way it did.
And then King Spot picked up Monsters.
Yes, that I was looking around in April because the Kickstarter is very successful, but only had about 300 backers. And I was like, man, that's a shame. I had 8 issues done. I was like, I think more people would enjoy this because the feedback I was getting from the Kickstarter guys were like, we love it. And I was like, well, are they saying that because they done bought it, or maybe they're really good, big fans or something. But I had let a couple of people read it that did not, participate in the Kickstarter, and they were going to give me honest reviews. And they said, Mark, I think you got something here. So then I was shopping. I even put on my Instagram, Facebook, hey, if you know of a publisher, let me know. I got a great deal for them. And like I had mentioned to you earlier, before the interview started, nobody wanted it. I mean, I won't call them out by name, but if you know of a publisher that's independent, I went to them. I mean, I went to if they had one book a month come out, I went to them. So because I wanted to I didn't want to worry about the printing side of it and doing all that. And I didn't want to worry about getting in with Diamond and all that. Because some people said, why didn't you just do it yourself? And I was like, well, you have to handle all that. And I said, I'm busy. I'm going to, be working on other covers and stories. I don't have time for that. So it got to a point where only one publisher basically said, hey, we're interested, and it was Kinspot, and then it worked out, and we didn't really realize what it would do. No, not one penny was spent on marketing or ads. We were thinking what I was hoping was, I knew that they was wanting to release it around Halloween in September, and I was thinking, well, that gives us a huge build up, maybe 5 weeks before Halloween. Maybe we'll sell out. So that's what I was hoping. I didn't want it to be where you walk in next year and there's one sitting on the shelf with cobwebs on it, and everybody hates it. And then I was worried if that happens, then we won't print all 8. I bet Kinspot will be like, hey, we tried a couple of issues, didn't work. Let's just end it. So that's what we were hoping is if it had enough lead time, maybe it would sell out by then. And we had over about 11,000 pre-orders on Diamond. So that was actually an achievement in itself. We didn't think it would get that many with again, I went and got a previews catalog. I couldn't even find it in it. I looked through the thing. I didn't know where it was. And because those things are thick and they're hidden all over the place. But I was thinking, well, maybe some of the stores would recognize my name from some of these covers like Lobo and Spawn, and would be like, okay, I'll take a chance. I'll get a couple issues. So that's what we were kind of hoping. And a lot of them, there's also no way you can see the interiors. And I was like, man, I want to show them that I spent a lot of time on these interiors. It'll sell if somebody picks it up and looks at it. But there's really no way you can even do that. I think they might have sent out an email blast that had some of the interiors, but we didn't get much press at all around it coming out. So then when the 11,000, we were just tickled to death. I mean, we were like, wow, but then I knew I'd already calculated. I said, okay, we'll have about a 50% decline. I didn't think we'd go to a second printing. But a week before it was released, it's supposed to have been released September 25th. A week before that, Ken Spot reached out to me the night before release, let's say September 17th, said, hey, we just looked at it and Diamond is sold out. So that meant if Diamond is sold out of it, that means there might have been a few orders between final or cutoff or, damages. But no, I don't even think they had enough for damages to be replaced. That's how, so that made them even more rare. Everybody was, it's one of those things where everybody wants it when they can't get it.
Yeah.
And, so then later that night, I got an email about 11 o'clock that night and said, hey, Diamond didn't tell us, but they're releasing it tomorrow. All the stores already have it. They're releasing it on the 18th. And I'm just shocked because I'm like, oh, wow, it's going to be the 18th. I thought I had a week to put it out on social media to get prepared for it. So that next day, man, I'm just all nervous. I'm like, oh, man, this thing, what if it doesn't sell? What if people hate it and all this? Because I just wasn't even prepared. I reached out to a few stores. They said, man, we were sold out within hours. And then I had talked to some of the big stores in America, and they were like, yeah, we only got a few left. And that just, it kind of blew my mind. We wasn't prepared for that. And within a week, it called for a second printing. So I got that cover done. We got that out there. And then I thought, well, okay, because you're still thinking, well, realistically, this is not really a hit, and all this. Of course, the number one cover we got for 2 weeks in a row, top trending comic for the BRIDEZILLA cover. And then, but a lot of people are like, oh, it's because it's Halloween. And, oh, it's because it's a hot female on the cover, right? You get those kind of people. Well, and I was like, okay, what's really going to come down to is number two's numbers. Well, if number two is not ordered a lot or whatever, then the stores thought, well, it's not going to be Halloween when it comes out. It's going to be around Thanksgiving. And they'll be like, oh, that was a fad. It happened. It's a one-hit wonder. Never again. And we have surpassed number two's orders is about 29% higher than orders for number one. So that it's a hit. I mean, it's basically, and I just can't believe it. It's shocking. And my wildest dreams, I didn't think, because if I said, hey, I'm going to get you to get this published with a publisher that a lot of people did not know. A lot of shops never ordered a Ken Spot book. And would not spend a dime on advertising or anything. No one knew that the book was going to be out there. So it's shocking. And I'm so grateful, man. I'm loving it because it does mean that I can continue the story that I originally wanted to do. I can go past 8 and keep going till as long as people will read it. So
I think out of all the indie publishers, I think Ken Spot is a good one. I've only heard nothing but great things.
Again, I'd never heard of them before they reached out to me. And I tell you, if I could go back in time and pick someone else, I wouldn't, because Chris over at Ken Spot, I will write him. He will write me back immediately if I got a question like, I don't know about this, or how should we do this? And it's a joint effort, and it just feels more like a little family when you would go to another publisher, it would probably be more formal. When this is more informal, and it's I think you get lost in the shuffle, right? Because there's so many other titles out there and all that kind of stuff. So I'm grateful. I love it there. I'll leave Monsters there for its entire existence, because they really put in the work to like I said, any questions I got, anything on the printing side, and they really go after whatever vision I want. Like if I was talking printers and stuff, like I'll be like, hey man, I don't know, should I lighten this or darken this, can I do that? And they're like, hey, you do if you want it to be like that, you go for it. And so it really helps when I have a vision, and they will help me realize that vision. So yeah, a great publisher. I think they're going to blow up after this, and more people will be bringing them titles. I really do. I think they're going to become the ones. Right now, if you just had to name off the big ones, it would probably be, of course, there's Image, Dark Horse, Boom, doing creator-owned stuff. And then I don't know if Dynamite does creator-owned stuff right now in IDW, but then I think Kinspot's going to move on up there because they're a creators-friendly place. So yeah, I think this is really going to help them too.
The one thing I love about Keenspot is on the very back page they show their other covers. I love that. That's the one thing I absolutely love.
Yes, that, and they also published the print numbers, which other publishers are too scared to do that. Because honestly, there's a lot of comics out there that aren't doing that great, and they don't want you to know they're not doing that great, right, with their numbers. So they will actually put on there, like the BRIDEZILLA cover, underneath it, it'll say the exact how many were printed. And I had so many fans. That was all Kinspot. Had nothing to do with it. They come up to me and said, Mark, that was genius idea. That was the best thing I could have done. I said, hey, that's all them. Because it does help the collectors when they go, oh, this is out there. I'm going to track that down. And I know this is rarer, or there was more of this printed. So, yeah, I love it. I want to continue to have that in the back of the books. It's great. And I really like that Kinspot puts those in there.
Do you have any words of inspiration to anybody out there?
Oh gosh, keep trying. I tried to break in comics when I was 17. I always wanted to be in the comic book industry, and I didn't make it. I mean, I kept sending things in. I did the Todd McFarlane method. He would tell people back then, send 30 out or 100 out a month. And I did that. I did it for years, and I kept thinking eventually they're going to get tired of me and give me a job. But no, they didn't. And I did get to work in comics through licensing, like Marvel statues and DC figurines and trading cards and all that stuff. But my goal was always, I want to do comics because I like to tell stories. I love to create a really neat artwork piece, but it's all about telling stories to me. And then I finally got back into where I could do it. So just keep at it. I mean, it might take 30 years, but if it's your dream, and it's just as sweet when you get it 30 years later than if you'd have got it, probably even more sweet, because, I've learned so much along the way, and I know how precious it is, and to enjoy it when you get it. So
I appreciate that. Is there anything you want to say before we go?
Let's see. MONSTRRS 2 is coming out about a month after this. It'll be around I want to say Thanksgiving, a week before Thanksgiving, because Thanksgiving's a little late this year. And then it's an oversized issue. We didn't advertise that because when we first did it, it was going to be 22 pages of story, and some ads and stuff in the back. But when #1 started doing well, I said, no, I'm going back to the drawing board. I'm adding I think it's 8 or 9 more pages to it. So there's 30 pages of story in this one. So it's 8 more, because I had to leave one out for the next issue. But eight more pages in it, and so it's a monster size, still the same price. So because I wanted to give some fans a little, little extra in there. Some more monsters are showing up in it, so you'll be pleasantly surprised. So. but that's about it. And like I said, before the Spawn will be out next April, I believe, and that'll be announced at Comic Con. So
I appreciate you taking the time to come talk with me, Mark.
oh, I appreciate it, man.
What? You mean you haven't subscribed to Comicchatauthority? Oh, come on, subscribe already. What are you waiting for? It's no big deal. Like, man, don't forget to tell him to hit that like button. Yeah, that too. Just subscribe.